Yes, so Hairless here. This is a recent performance by Dimash in Shanghai, Hymne A L'Amour, or Hymn to Love. I didn't know the original song, I was actually only told about this performance today. I was going to film another video, but I thought, let's do this one now, I'll get into why in a second. And I've just listened to the original song by Edith Piaf, released in 1950. That's a long time ago. It's a nice song. I actually listened to both the English and the French versions. Firstly, the English version, because I searched for the song using the English name. Anyway, it's got some very intense vibrato in it. So I'm not really sure what to expect from Dimash in this one. As we know, he can do everything. Will it be high in the original pitch or low because he is a man? Will there be rich vibrato or the opposite, full sound, airy voice? I'm intrigued, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. We'll start again. I mentioned I'd say why I decided to do this now. In the few comments I received telling me about this song or this performance, they said that Dimash's own video on his own channel got removed because of copyright. Copyright is no joke, and this goes to show it. So I figured I'll just do it now, release my video, hope it doesn't get taken down and I don't receive a copyright strike or something like that. I'm not taking any chances here, so I will be pausing probably more than usual. I will be talking and I'll probably have to apply a filter to the video. So if that is the case, you can find the unfiltered video on my Patreon, which is linked in the pinned comment. Ooh. Oh, he started low down. Just quickly on that introduction, very nice, similar to the original. The ending of that introduction though, slight differences there. They sound a bit different because they're in a slightly different key. The original song by Edith Piaf, if we hear when she starts singing, that note there is the major third of the chord. So we go down 3 notes, 2, 3, and we know that this is our root note, E flat major. Dimash, le c'est bleu, which is here. So we do the same thing. We know it's the major third, so we go down 3 notes. And that's our root note, F. So he is in F. The original is here in E flat. Not that much difference, but of course he is starting way down. So the difference has been shifted from just a couple of notes to almost an octave, a 7th apart. I don't hear too much of this, baritone Dimash as I call it, so. Le ciel bleu sur nous peut s'y fondre. Et la terre peut bien s'écrouler, peu m'importe si tu m'aimes, j'aime du monde entier. Tant que l'amour est notre mémoire. Airy Dimash. We know I love airy Dimash. Cue Ikenaide clip, which is obligatory every time I say I love airy Dimash. And it's just even more exaggerated as well, coming from this rich, deeper baritone sound. Quite airy at the start, actually. Et la terre peut bien s'écrouler. Really growing into the sound as the melody moves up, as the phrases progress, as the song progresses. Nice as well against the very reduced piano accompaniment, quite heavily focused on arpeggio figures rather than being chordal. Because the original song is accompanied by strings, stringed instruments, violin, cello, anything that's bowed, as long as you are bowing, playing, the sound will not become quieter. With a piano, if you play one note and hold it, the sound will gradually get quieter, which is why the original with the stringed accompaniment gives the effect of being more chordal, because there's just more of a sustained sound underneath. We don't have that with Dimash here, so naturally, I think his voice is coming through a bit more. Very mature sound, isn't it? Quite poignant with all these classic film clips going on in the background, and the transition between his two voice types. Nice slide up. Actually, there was a nice affectation he did. Where was it? Here on Je m'avoue. Almost like a ghost. Woo! Shaky vibrato going into the air. Tenor Dimash blended voice.
Je vais jusqu'au bout du monde. Je me verrai d'être à blonde. Si tu me le demandes, je vais décrocher la lune. Je vais voler la fortune. Si tu me le demandes. Champigner ma patrie, champigner mes amis. Si tu me le demandes, oh que bien pour moi. Je ferai n'importe quoi. Si tu me
I just completely forgot to pause. Again, it might not be an issue, but considering this video got taken down on Dimash's own channel, copyright is a bit tougher than normal, perhaps, with this one. Why I forgot to pause? I mean, we've just got a bit of everything there. Quite literally a bit of everything. This is one of those performances that would be very good for someone's first time hearing Dimash. I've heard him many times now, so I think naturally with anything, the more you experience something, you become a little bit desensitized to it. But I just want to take a step back and appreciate how absurd this is. You yourself have probably heard or seen him many times. I've even seen him live a couple of times in person. Once was just a few weeks ago. I made a video on my experience and I did a reaction to his duet with Lara Fabian of Adagio. So if you want to see those two videos, they will also be linked in the pinned comment, along with the video I made of when I went to see him in Budapest in 2024. Back to this one. I mean, there's just so much to unpack. Melodic changes, range changes, rhythmic changes, infrastructure changes, if we can think of it like that. From this super delicate, airy voice in his head voice, we then move into the powerful tenor Dimash. Blended voice coming through. It's why he makes it seem so easy. This is very high. Very, very high. And he goes even higher. Just how high? Well, that's a top C, which is what I call the wow operatic tenor moment. So far we've had airy baritone Dimash, full voice baritone Dimash, airy high tenor or countertenor Dimash, but a lot of air, singing in his head voice, then moving into the more powerful full voice or blended voice tenor Dimash. That's about 4 of the, I don't know, thousands of different types of Dimashes that we have. And of course, any song really is reliant on every part that we hear. Dimash is obviously the center of the stage, literally and figuratively, but we do have the backing track, the backing voices. I can't see them on the stage unless they're hidden behind, so I cannot speak as to if they are live or just the backing track. But we're now having other instruments coming through. The harp, which is almost a magical sound, really accentuating these arpeggios again. An oboe, I think, that we were hearing, or was it the clarinet? With that soaring line underneath Dimash there. And then this chromatic fall. And we get an idea of how harmonic progressions work. That there, the end of the phrase, I think I was kind of looking away because it was just reminding me of another song. And then suddenly things went crazy here and my attention was drawn back. I'm going to check something, the other song it's reminding me of. Found it, Ben, Michael Jackson. Let's hear Dimash's phrase here. And Ben, Michael Jackson.
Got a friend in me. Got a friend.
Dimash has a slight chromatic inflection on his though, so instead of it's more like a tiny bit more jazzy, a bit more modern. That's not an especially rare phrase, just falling down 3 notes, but I think it's because they're in the same key. It just triggered like a muscle memory in my brain or something. Who knew I'd be talking about Michael Jackson in a Dimash cover of an Edith Piaf song from 1950? If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. Alright, then comes the crazy bit. Another very classic chord progression. Rhythmic urgency here. I don't really need to talk about it. It's quite self-explanatory. In the original song I said I was listening to beforehand, both the English and the French versions. The English version,
I remember each embrace, the smile that lights your face.
mystical, different, right? So then when I realized I was listening to the English version and I moved to the French version, the obvious thing is it's quicker, but there are these other subtle differences as well. And being sung in French, especially with my Lara Fabian videos, I always go on about how the language that you sing a song in can really make a difference. There we hear how guttural and sounds was in the French version compared to the English. Dimash is singing in French here, which is a rare language for him, I think, at least from my experience. And funnily, at the end of these phrases, he does a Michael Jackson-ism with that. Any Michael Jackson fans, you'll know what I mean. I think I have spoken about this in a previous Dimash video, and a lot of you mentioned that Dimash is a big Michael Jackson fan. Interesting though, this is where we get the voices harmonizing, just adding a bit of oomph to the sound. Nice range of harmony there, actually. Voices higher up and below. And then the harmony here is a bit more peculiar because of these voices, such as the one at the top. And then this really kind of slow vibrato at the end. Chromatic falling voices in the background. This bit is quite strange. Everything about it is quite strange. It doesn't feel very natural. It doesn't really look very natural either, but I suppose that's the point of this section. It's different. It probably makes us all think a bit kind of like, ooh, what's that? And that's a very, very modern vocal run. It's a demonstration of skill, of vocal technique. If someone can sing like that, then it's basically showing that, yeah, they are very agile with their voice. We've heard Dimash do it in a few other performances. I think some of the earlier videos of mine that I did, and I'm pretty sure I would have played them in slow motion just to show the accuracy. If you're curious in which Dimash videos I've done, you can find them all in my Dimash playlist linked in the description. And whilst a display of skill, this is just personal preference. Please don't attack me for saying this. I am just not a big fan of these modern runs. I hear them a lot in kind of R&B music, and in general they just don't do it that much for me. But you know, it's different, and this song so far has very much been about having differences, different sections, different voice types, different rhythms, everything. So let's carry on, see what else might be in store for us.
If one day we had to say goodbye,
switching to English as well.
In my heart, you will remain dear.
Is he going to go high? Is he going to go high? There's about a minute left of this video. Sometimes you don't know if the last 30 seconds will be credits or something. He's just started singing high. I will assume that's not the case. If it isn't the case, I apologize, but there are a few things from that section we just heard I just quickly like to go over. We were talking about differences. Immediately, we have a difference in voice type, reduction in the orchestration, back to reduced piano.
If one day we have
Chordal, not arpeggios now. And we can hear how each chord fades out. This is what I was talking about before. Airy Dimash, again, it's where the end of the phrase is no actual audible note. It's just air coming out. And now the strings come in, like in the original song. Such a full sound. The bass coming in as well now, playing a huge, huge part in this full sound. Sinking down. Dum, bum, bum. I'll go up the octave. Dum, dum, bum, 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 bum. As Dimash is moving up, so this contrary motion. And what are the lyrics with my voice raised high to heaven? How does Dimash paint these lyrics? By going insanely high. Cha-cha-cha-cha, suddenly a rhythmic idea, thinking in terms of threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, instead of twos. 1, 2, 1, 2. Straight into a kind of militaristic beat as well. Just for you, I see. Cha-cha-cha-cha. And with the heavy choral sound in the background, that moment of music there reminds me very much of music of soundtracks of war films or shows, such as Band of Brothers, or Saving Private Ryan. This guy here doesn't look very impressed, does he? Oh, that is a ridiculous performance. It is. We had absolutely everything in there. I am very jealous of the lucky people in the future whose first time hearing Dimash will be this. And then undoubtedly the Dimash rabbit hole will open. Then they'll move on to SOS and then Adagio, Olimpico and Ave Maria. This performance is conjuring up all these memories of these various performances by Dimash. It's really interesting how he's taken these stylistic elements of all these different performances, managed to put them into a 4-minute song, which is a cover of a song from the 50s. Very, very cool arrangement. Very interesting. There's obviously so much in here that I just don't have the time to go over. In case you're wondering quite how high that is, that's a D up here, and this note just up here is the top note in the Queen of the Night aria. And the final climactic moment, I love it because it's a demonstration of how even within one type of Dimash's voice, so you know how we have his chest voice or his head voice or his blended voice, there are kind of sub-types within it. So he starts off on this long sustained note in his blended voice. And then moving into a much more head-dominated blend. This is the one that I call the real powerful Dimash that he tends to use in more pained moments generally when he's singing. In this case, though, it's just to end in this glamorous, huge, huge way. well, that was certainly a surprise. I did not wake up today thinking that I'd be seeing that. Someone had actually emailed me about this performance a few days ago, but I only saw it today. At the time of recording, today is June the 25th. This video was released on June the 21st, so I think I'm, 3 or 4 days late? Anyway, I don't think I need to say any more. That was quite something. Let me know what you think of this one, how it compares to his other performances. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, would really appreciate a like. If you'd like to support me, go and see Dimash again. The Buy Me a Coffee is linked below. Give the video a share, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.